Last night, we brought you the story of UCLA professor Gordon Klein, who was suspended for the heinous crime of not letting black students postpone final exams in the wake of George Floyd's death. Well, tonight, a different effort has reared its ugly head at another Ivy League institution. Professor William Jacobson has taught at Cornell Law School for over a dozen years, but that hasn't inoculated him from the mob. On his blog, Legal Insurrection, Jacobson accurately fact-checked a couple of the foundational tenets of the Black Lives Matter movement. Well, now outraged students and even colleagues he's been friendly with for years, some of them, are calling for his head. Professor Jacobson joins me now to respond. Professor, you're a conservative, so you're used to being in the minority on college campuses. But what about this level of vitriol?
Right. I've never seen this. I mean, this is so far beyond political correctness. This is almost a totalitarian type of mentality that everything you say and everything you do is watched. And if you don't toe the party line completely, you're ostracized and you're attacked. And that's exactly what happened here. I simply told a couple of truths about the foundations of the Black Lives Matter movement. It was founded based upon the claim that Michael Brown was shot by police while he had his hands up and he was saying, don't shoot. And every day now during the protests, people are walking around saying, hands up, don't shoot. But that's a complete fabrication. It's not a fabrication because I say it's a fabrication, because it's a fabrication because after an exhaustive investigation by the Obama Eric Holder Justice Department, they found that that never actually happened. That was concocted by the founders of the Black Lives Matter movement to portray police as brutal killers of black people, and it has been the ethos that has carried on forever. And that's why we see calls to defund and deconstruct the police. But it's based on a fabricated tale that gave rise to this movement.
So it was your nerve that you had to state a truth that got you in trouble. And just so people understand this, Professor, the Cornell Law School dean put out a statement in support of your academic freedom, but then he also went on, of course, to say this. Recent blog posts of Professor Jacobson casting broad and categorical aspersions on the goals of those protesting for justice for black Americans do not reflect the values of Cornell Law School. I found his recent post to be both offensive and poorly reasoned. Professor, you can keep your job, but you're going to be verbally flogged in public, and I think the effort is to make sure students shy away from taking your class. That's what I think is going on here.
Well, that statement by the dean is falsely characterized what I wrote. I did not cast aspersions on people peacefully protesting. I cast aspersions on the violence and the looting and the tearing down of society. That's what I was talking about. I think anybody reading my post would fairly come to that conclusion. But there's a bigger point here. We have on our campus faculty who say the craziest, most offensive things from a left-wing perspective. They never get called out. They never have their deans issue statements. It's only the one conservative in the law school, me, who gets singled out, and it's almost like a attempted public shaming. It's what happened during the Cultural Revolution in China, that if there's a professor who has wrong think, you hold him out, you ostracize him, and you criticize him to the community. That is a statement the dean should have said. He has the academic freedom to write what he wants, period. Yeah. Because that's what they do for everybody else.
Professor, I have to ask you, because I went to Dartmouth College during the 80s, and there was just the beginning of the political correctness movement that we were exposing in our college newspaper. But are there any liberals in the traditional sense still on campus who say, look, I don't agree with you, Bill, but you have a right to speak out. It's ridiculous what's happening to the country. Are there any of those left, or are they all gone?
Well, a lot of them are left, but they always speak very quietly. They talk to you in hushed tones and behind closed doors. It's a very repressive atmosphere on all campuses. A typical example, it used to be if you kept your head down and you minded your own business, you could kind of escape the crowd. That's not true anymore. I mean, a Cornell student group that's been coming after me has on their Facebook page Silence is violence.
Right. Now,
okay.
this is
now,
a new lingo.
This
being
is
silent is a
completely
crime.
crazy.
Yeah, Professor, we're going to have you
crazy.
back because we're going to continue to document this. Maybe it's time for the federal government to take away some of the benefits these schools get if they're going to do nonsense like this.